Harry Kane was 8 years old when Arsenal let him go. Not wanted by Arsenal, and the boy that nobody had earmarked for anything. Now he's England's all-time top goal scorer. He's broken a goal scoring record that has stood for almost 100 years, and he's just opened what could be his last World Cup with 2 goals in a game. Now, the question that this video is going to answer is what actually took him from that moment all those years ago at Arsenal to here, because it absolutely was not natural God-given talent. And by the end, you're going to understand exactly what it was and how you can start to build the same thing into your own game. Now, my name's Bowden. I'm a mental performance coach to Premier League and Champions League players. I'm also the author of the best-selling book, Use Your Brain, Raise Your Game. And what I'm about to show you is not about character. It is your brain and your nervous system and how it can be systematically almost hacked to produce the same results that may never have happened if you or Harry Kane didn't do this. Because here's the thing about Kane that most players miss. He was never the most gifted. Now, he's quick, but he's not rapid. He's strong, but he doesn't bully defenders off the ball. He won't beat a man with a trick. What he had, and still has, was an obsession with getting better. As a kid, his coaches said that he rarely focused on the scoreline or wins. His major obsession, how can I improve? And this focus, in my opinion, is hands down the biggest and perhaps the only reason why Harry Kane is likely to be the best striker on the planet right now. And the reason behind all of this actually comes down to how a skill is actually built. Now, every time you repeat an action, so a strike, a first touch, a volleyed finish, your brain lays down a neural pathway. This is a real physical connection in your brain. Each time that you do it, a coating called myelin will build up around that pathway, like insulation around a wire. And the more myelin, the faster and the cleaner that signal travels down it. Do it enough, and that skill stops being something that you think about, and it moves from conscious control to something that is automatic and instinctive. And that is what tens of thousands of finishes did for Harry Kane. He conditioned his finishing and the way he strikes a ball so deeply that it runs without him having to think about it at all. And that program that is running automatically and instinctively is one of precision, power, accuracy, intelligence, everything. He has systematically trained himself to being incredible. And the research here is clear. A landmark study by Balick and Carr that was published in 2001, it showed that once a skill is trained to a high enough level, it becomes what they call proceduralized. It runs on its own, all without step-by-step conscious control. In plain terms, the best finishers on the planet, they're not calculating anything. They have done it so many times that the decision and the strike itself, they're already made before the conscious brain even gets involved. And I know that you have felt a version of this. That finishing training that just happens. You don't think, I'm going to volley it into the bottom corner. You don't think, I'm going to position my body in a certain way so I can get more power or more accuracy. No, it's in the net before you have decided anything. And that is your automatic game. Now, when I work with my Premier League and other pro players that I personally work with, this is what I refer to as the blue performance state. Now, here is what that means to you. This isn't a gift that Kane was born with and you weren't. It is conditioned, rep by rep, pathway by pathway, which means to you it can be built. But there is another moment in Kane's career that tells something even more important. That was in the 2022 World Cup, the quarterfinal. England against the reigning champions, France. Kane, he stepped up to take a penalty and he buries it. Calm, automatic. And with it, he draws level with Wayne Rooney's all-time England scoring record. Then, 6 minutes from the end, England win another penalty, a chance to take the world champions to extra time. Same player, same spot, same goal, he puts it over. Kane is one of the most reliable penalty takers football has ever seen. So what happened here? This is where it gets very interesting. Kane is meticulous. Training, preparation. Everything he does on a football pitch is familiar. He's done it tens of thousands of times. And when things are familiar, this is when that autopilot runs brilliantly. But there was something unfamiliar about this penalty. This was no longer just about him scoring a penalty against Lloris in the World Cup quarterfinals. This was now about him having to score his second penalty against him. And what I believe happened is that this got Kane's internal dialogue chattering. Because how many times has he had to score a penalty in his career? Too many times to mention. How many times in such a high stakes, high profile environment has he been asked to do it twice? That unfamiliarity of this situation now brings in critical thinking that wasn't there before. Should I go the same way? Should I do what I always do? Should I mix it up? Will Lloris think that I'm going to stick to the same thing? What is he thinking? Now, the internal dialogue he was having doesn't really matter. What matters is the fact that it was happening in the first place, because when it does, it starts bringing in the conscious part of the brain to take control. And when that conscious part of your brain comes back online, we have a big issue now. Something that researchers call reinvestment. The conscious, analytical part of your brain forces its way back into a skill that was running automatically. It starts to check, to monitor, to control the skill that was never meant to be consciously controlled. And the moment that it does, the automatic breaks down, the fluency, the brilliance, it disappears. Geert Jordet is a professor who has spent 2 decades studying the psychology of penalties, and he's regarded as the world's leading expert on it. And he describes exactly this: finishing runs on automation. And the second that you start to monitor it, that natural fluidity, it falls apart. Now, Kane, he didn't just forget how to take a brilliant penalty. His conscious brain climbed into something his nervous system had already mastered. For one kick, that automatic became deliberate. And deliberate is slower, tighter, and worse. Now, you've lived this too. The touch that's been perfect all week. It's gone the moment the coach is watching. The finish that you score in your sleep, that you snatch at in the game that actually matters. It's not that it got worse, it's that the conscious brain climbed into the driving seat, all in that one moment that it should never have. But in true Harry Kane fashion, this was not something that broke him. It was something that signaled develop and learn from. Because on that night, Harry Kane had gone through his whole career up until that moment, 694 professional games for club and country without a single trophy. He'd lost 6 major finals. The world even had a name for it: the Kane curse. And then at 31, he finally won the Bundesliga, his first major trophy. He said afterwards that he never felt cursed, and indeed he then went relentless. A second Bundesliga, a cup final win where he had scored a hat-trick, 61 goals in a single season, breaking an English record that had stood since 1928, and then winning the World Cup in 2026. Okay, maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself there, but the whole point here is that you don't need to be the best right now. Your game is always going to have flaws. Even now, Kane has flaws. You just need to have a hunger to get better. And I don't mean a want, I mean driven to improve, driven to take the necessary action to improve. And you can, of course, train well, but you have a limited time on the training pitch. And research shows that vividly visualizing has real benefits that are similar to physically training. So take advantage of this. Take time to see yourself practicing what you want to improve in your game. Visualize it over and over, as this is going to make a massive improvement to your game. It's actually core to what I do with some of the best players on the planet that I personally work with. Now, you can, of course, do this on your own, and I'd encourage it. But if you're serious about your development, the same seriousness that Harry Kane had when he was released by Arsenal, join my Football Mind Gym, because in there are tons of guided visualizations to improve every single aspect of your game. It's the same sessions that I use with my pro players. It's now open to the public and it's already being used by hundreds of players around the world to accelerate their development. The first 7 days are free and the link is in the description. Now the choice is yours. Do these visualizations on your own or join the Football Mind Gym, but don't rely on hope. Take control, take action, and accelerate your development.